The Kraft Foods Company presents Harold Perry as the Great Gildersleeve.
Yes.
Would you like something new for the new year? Well, then start the year right by getting acquainted with the latest edition of the Kraft family of fine cheese, K-Brand Natural Cheese. It's a mellow, delicious cheddar you're going to enjoy as a special treat in the coming year. Listen for more about K-Brand cheese later. Now let's see what's going on in Summerfield. As water commissioner, the great Gildersleeve may not have been a ball of fire during the year, but on this last day of December, he's winding things up in a blaze of glory.
Bessie, you have those reports filed away?
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Gildersleeve. And all those old letters you had in your desk, too. They took up 2 whole cabinets.
Well, we don't mind a little work, Bessie. Just so we've cleared the desk for 48.
Oh, we did. And I clearly marked both cabinets.
That's good.
Unfinished business of 1947. But last year we only had 1 cabinet full of unfinished business left over. Business is getting better, isn't it, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Well, let's hope that's the explanation, Bessie. But it's all over for this year. Now we can relax. What time is it?
Only 2 o'clock. Should I get my pad and pencil?
Bessie, it's December 31st. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
Oh, yes, sir.
What?
Gosh, I don't know. I guess you caught me in a fib, Mr. Gildersleeve.
It means it's the last day of the year, Bessie. Let's close up the office. Besides, I have some arrangements to make for New Year's Eve.
Oh, you mean all those parties, Mr. Gildersleeve? You certainly were invited to a lot of them.
Well, yes, I was.
New Year's parties are such fun. When it's 12 o'clock, you say, Happy New Year, and then kiss everybody.
Yes, you have the general idea, Bessie. Let's see, I'll stop in at Doris's at 9, Eve's at 9:30, pay a call on the Bagley sisters at 10, then be back at Doris's by 11. She invited me twice.
But you can't celebrate until midnight, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, they all have radios, Bessie. I'll find New Year's someplace. I bet you could turn on that portable there and find they're celebrating right now in Calcutta or someplace.
Oh, Mr. Gildersleeve, do you really think so?
I was only making a point, Bessie. The time changes around the world. Now run on home and have a happy New Year. The office is closed.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Gildersleeve, you've been very nice to me this year.
Well, you've been a pretty good secretary.
I have, Mr. Gildersleeve. Oh, Mr. Gildersleeve.
No, Bessie.
Happy New Year.
Bessie.
Happy New Year.
Bessie, it's still early.
It's Happy New Year in Calcutta. You said so.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Yes. And the radio wasn't even on. Well, hello, Peavy.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. What can I do for you this afternoon?
Well, you might make me a little sandwich, Peavy. Just kind of tide me over. And a cup of coffee first, hot.
1 hot cup of coffee coming up. Been working, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Yeah. Bessie and I just cleaned up a little unfinished business of 1947.
So I see. Care for a facial tissue to clean up a little more?
Huh? Oh, thanks, Peavy. Bessie was celebrating New Year's Eve. Said I was a good employer to her all year, and, well, what's wrong with a little token of affection on New Year's? Besides, she kissed me.
Yeah, good for Bessie. I don't imagine many women could have gotten away with it.
Well, I won't have any trouble tonight, Peavy. I'm going to 3 parties.
3 parties?
You bet. I'm going to try and kiss every pretty girl in town.
Mr. Gildersleeve, you don't suppose you're taking this atom bomb talk too seriously, do you?
It's New Year's Eve, Peavy. Time to ring out the old and ring in the new. How about you? You're not going to work tonight, are you?
Oh, no, Mr. Gildersleeve. Mrs. Peavy likes to spend New Year's Eve at home. What kind of sandwich was that?
Make it a cheese on rye.
K-brand natural on rye coming up.
Good coffee this is, Peavy.
Thank you. Would you care for a little sliver of ham on the sandwich also?
Well, all right.
New Year's Eve is quite an occasion with Mrs. Peavy. She always prepares something special for dinner and mayonnaise.
Yeah, just a dab.
Then we do the dishes and go into the living room and talk about things. Mrs. Peavy always likes to talk about things on New Year's Eve. Lettuce?
Well, yes.
Along toward 10 o'clock, we may play a game of cribbage. That kills an hour. I think I'll slip in a little slice of ox tongue, if you don't mind.
Easy, Peavy.
And then around 11 o'clock, we get out the horns and wait.
Well, that sounds like a good way for you to greet the new year.
I guess so, Mr. Gildersleeve. At least by 12 o'clock, I'm awfully glad to see it come.
Yes, but how about the sandwich?
Oh, you care for this little pickle nub in it, too?
Yeah, Peavy, how much is all this going to cost?
Oh, no extra charge to you, Mr. Gildersleeve. At the end of the year, I have unfinished business to clean up back here, too.
What?
How about a little turkey wing?
No thanks, Peavy. Just give me the cheese that I ordered in the beginning.
Just as you say, Mr. Gildersleeve. I never will get rid of this darn stuff. There you are, cheese on rye.
Thanks, Peavy.
Hi, Commish. Peeve, what's up?
Well, hello, Floyd.
Hi, Floyd. I was just going to come over and pay you a visit. Get shaved and trimmed up for tonight.
Okay, I'm going back to the shop soon as I make a purchase off the Peeve. Guess I'd be going out among them tonight, too, if it wasn't for Lovey in bed with the cold.
Well, not too bad, Floyd.
Yeah, so I think I better stay home and look after her. She thinks so, too.
Well, I'll be making the rounds tonight. Private parties.
Yeah, it's a good way to save money. But be careful, Commish. They say more colds are caught from exposure to mistletoe than from wet feet.
Quite a lot of flu around, too.
Yeah, don't worry about me. You two grandmothers stay home with the fire. I'll have my fun.
Yeah, you lucky stiff. Give me a paper hat for Lovey, Peeve. One she won't knock off in bed.
Very well, Floyd. And something for the cold?
Got an old Indian remedy, Peeve. 1 hot teaspoon to the patient, every 2 to the doctor, and Happy New Year to everybody. How much is this hat?
Well, all hats are a quarter, plus an extra penny.
Oh, well, I'll take this one with the extra feather. There you are. Hey, the judge was in, mentioned something about getting together at the Jolly Boys tonight, but I told him to count me out. You fellas, too, huh?
The Jolly Boys? That would be Judge Hooker's idea. What a dull place to spend New Year's Eve.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I can think of duller places. And perhaps the judge doesn't have any other place to go.
Yeah, he's kind of alone in the world at that. I'd ask him over to our house, but I can't with Lovey on the blink.
Well, he could come over and celebrate with Mrs. Peavy and me. Of course, I'd have to put out some feelers first.
Hey. Why don't you take him around with you tonight, Commish?
Floyd!
He don't have a happy home to stick to like the Peeve and me. Just a housekeeper in 4 walls.
Well, that's his concern.
Well, you wouldn't want to be all alone on New Year's Eve, would you?
Well, now, Floyd,
He's really very fond of you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Yeah, you've known him longer than any of us.
It's up to the judge to get invited to his own parties. He has to make his little contacts throughout the year like I do.
Okay, Commissioner. That's the way you feel about it. On New Year's Eve, well, I guess I'll get back to the shop.
I'll be right over for that shave, Floyd.
I may be busy.
Yep.
Happy New Year, Peavy.
Happy New Year, Floyd.
Happy New Year, Floyd. Floyd, Happy New Year. Look, fellas, I'm not responsible for Hooker.
The judge is a jolly boy, ain't he?
But
All for one, one for all. Like the song goes, should old acquaintance be forgot?
all right, Floyd, all right. I'll take him along with me. Ye God.
That's the spirit, Commish. Happy New Year.
It's a very nice thing you're doing, Mr. Gildersleeve. Should old acquaintance...
All right, Peavy. Happy New Year. Wonder where I'll find the old goat. A lot of fun I'll have with Hooker tagging along. The louder the party gets, the louder he talks. Say, there's Chief Gates. Maybe he's on duty tonight, and the judge can go down and play pinochle with him at the police station. Chief, wait!
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, Happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you, Chief. Have you heard about Judge Hooker?
No. What happened?
Well, nothing, but he's a fine fellow, Hooker. Fellow jolly boy and all.
Of course. I've always been very fond of the judge.
Chief, the old fellow was a little at loose ends this evening. And it being New Year's Eve and all.
Oh, that's too bad. Come to think of it, the judge and I haven't played pinochle together for quite some time. And I'd ask him over tonight, but I always drive over to Salinas on New Year's Eve to see my mother.
Well, if you don't have time for a fellow jolly boy.
But, Commissioner, I haven't missed a New Year's Eve with my mother in 20 years.
That's all right. It's all right. I'll take him with me. Looks as though I'm stuck with the old goat. Well, I'll tell him to get his glad rags out, and maybe I can ditch him before the evening's over.
His Honor isn't home.
His Honor? Oh, you mean the judge?
Who'd you think I meant?
Yeah, well, Mrs. Fogel, I'm Mr. Gildersleeve. Remember?
Yes, I remember.
Well, when do you expect the old His Honor?
He went walking in the park about an hour ago.
Walking in the park?
Don't you hear good?
Yes, What a housekeeper. No wonder Hooker's sad about staying home tonight. Well, I'm not going to spend all afternoon looking for him. I've driven through the park twice. There he is, walking with his back to the wind, feeling sorry for himself. Horace! Horace!
Well, Gildy, what brings you out in the park?
Get in, Hooker, before you freeze.
It is getting chilly, but I think I'll take one more turn around the square.
Get in, Hooker. You're too old to be romping around in the snow.
I wasn't romping. I was thinking.
Well, close the door and think inside. And have a tissue in the glove compartment.
I have a handkerchief, thank you.
Oh, brother. I've been looking all over for you, Horace. I wanted to extend a little invitation to you.
Well, as I say, I've been out thinking about the future.
Oh? What about the future?
That's just what I ask myself. I ask myself, what about the future?
What a silly thing, Judge. Out in the cold park thinking. Who do you think you are, Bernard Baruch?
Well, it's very well for you to say, Gildy. You have a warm family circle to talk things out with this evening. And I must say I envy you. That's the real way to spend New Year's Eve.
Well...
You see, I've been thinking about you too, Gildy.
You have?
Yes. And those two sweet children. How you must look forward to the joy of each New Year's Eve. Marjorie curled at your feet and little Leroy in your lap.
Yeah, but, Judge, when did you see Leroy last?
Oh, that's right. I was carried back, I guess, to the time when, as probate judge, I turned those little children over to you. My, but you were proud.
Well, yes, I was.
And although you've been fat-headed and stubborn at times, and a little negligent, I've never regretted doing it.
Well, thanks, Judge.
With each passing year, what a thrill it must be for you, a man whose life was once empty, like mine is, to hear them recite their accomplishments and then plan the course of the future and welcome the new year all together. One family, all for one and one for all. Now then, what is it you wanted to ask me, Gildy?
Well, Floyd and Peavy told me you were at loose ends tonight, and I was wondering...
Yeah?
If you'd care to spend New Year's Eve with me.
Where, Gildy? At home with you and the children?
At home? Well, yes. In the bosom of my little family.
Gildy, old friend, I'd be honored and delighted.
I was afraid you would, you old goat.
What?
Nothing, Horace. Said you got a beautiful coat. Well, at least I kissed Bessie Happy New Year way back in Calcutta.
It won't be long before horns will blow, bells will ring, and folks will gather round to sing out Auld Lang Syne. Yes, and just